In a previous video I showed you how to knit a garter stitch using the U80 lock. Today I will show you how to knit a mock garter stitch. Put the racking handle into its lowest position. Raise the desired needles on the front bed and place the edge springs on the last working ones. Now raise the same number of needles on the back bed and make sure the needle rule is observed. You can start with a single bed cast on, but I like the edge which the tubular one creates. Set both locks to N and the stitch size to 3. Do you like the new look of my locks? Now insert the orange strippers and take the main yarn. Knit 1 row. Set both locks to CX and increase the stitch size to 4. Now knit 2 rows. Set both locks to N and increase the stitch size to 5. Take a strand of waste yarn and lay it over the stitches. Put both ends of the strands between the beds, then tie them under the machine and attach a weight to the loop. Now knit 1 row to finish the cast on. I will show you 2 ways to knit this mock garter stitch. If you are using a Passap S machine, set the front lock to HX and decrease the stitch size. The stitch size setting will be different depending on the yarn that you are using, so start with your main stitch size setting and gradually decrease it as you knit. This way you will find the right setting for your machine. Set the back lock to N and decrease the stitch size a bit. Now remove the orange strippers and insert the black ones. I made a tubular cast on, so I need to transfer all stitches to the back bed before starting to knit the garter stitch. It is a drop stitch pattern, so if you skip this step your knitting will unravel. The U80 is set to 4 because the yarn is laying in a zigzag manner between the beds. After transferring the stitches, leave the empty needles on the front bed in working position and put the edge springs back. If you know an interesting knitting technique or a stitch pattern, I will be happy if you share it in the comments. Now I will return the racking handle to its lowest position. On the front bed, raise pushers under all working needles and put them in working position. Knit 2 rows, detach the front lock and knit 2 rows with the front lock only. Repeat the same steps, knit 2 rows with both locks, then 2 rows with the front lock only. This is pretty easy to do, but if you use the Duomatic 80 and you have pushers on the back bed, you can automate the process. Let me show you how. You need to set the front lock the same way as the Passap S users. Set the back lock to BX, decrease the stitch size and press the left arrow key. Make sure you have the black strippers inserted. Prepare one empty eyelet and set it as the second one in the color changer. On the back bed, raise pushers under all working needles and put them in resting position. Now you can start knitting. You need to knit 2 rows with the main yarn and 2 rows with the empty eyelet. In other words, you have to change the eyelet whenever possible. As you can see in the close-up, the machine will knit for the first 2 rows, then when you take the empty eyelet it will only drop the stitches on the front bed. This is the final result. It's not exactly a garter stitch, but it's very similar to it. Tell me, do you like these stitch pattern demonstration videos in the comments below? That's all for today. Have a nice day and see you in my next video.